This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3. Lovely.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Maastricht edition live on Facebook. Tonight we have the lovely Hugo Parks who'll be telling us how to stay fit during these lockdown times. And we'll also have our usual fun and games with This Day in History, Matt Goes Dutch, and Tracy Tidbits. So make sure you stay tuned for our last show of January already.
Yay! Good evening. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Maastricht edition. Oh my goodness, Matt, is it really the last one of January?
It is, yeah.
It is. It's February on Monday, Joe.
Oh, no.
But on a plus note, I do feel that the evenings are starting to say that little bit brighter, don't you think?
They are. And you know how I measure this, Tracy?
Is it something to do with your goats?
It is something to do with my goats. Funny you should say that, because for those of you who actually follow me on social media, you will see I posted a video today because it's been absolutely wretched today with the weather. It hasn't been lots of rain as in throwing it down, but it's been consistently raining.
Yes.
And a lot of the time it's been that horrible drizzly stuff that's going on, but it is everywhere. And when I went out today to go and feed the goats, as I do just before the sun goes down, I just was wet. I was muddy. I was smelling of wet goat. Yes.
Lovely, Joe. Lovely.
Yes.
If only they had smell-o-vision on Instagram.
Oh, yes. That's a good reason to tune in for sure. It's Smell Joe smelling of goat.
Lovely. Oh, the goat.
I have smelt worse over the years, but maybe we shouldn't go into. Although, to be honest with you, I think quite a few of us are probably smelling worse than we have done for years, because apparently we're not showering as much as we used to.
Me too.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm showering less for sure, but I did shower today, and I also put on perfume for the first time in a long time. I was like, "Ooh, wow!" So that was a treat. So is
that because you were going to be broadcasting this evening? So, oh yes, I'll stick some.
Why not? Just to make me feel a bit better. But it was really bizarre. I haven't, I've got a bottle of perfume in my bag. Who knew? So that was quite nice. So feel a bit more normal again, I guess.
Yeah, whatever normal is. I can't remember what that is anymore. Whatever it is. But anyway.
Speaking of normal.
Oh!
I think it was Saturday, I went for a walk in the park and I heard this really strange noise. It sounded a bit like a goose, but like, I don't know, being strangled or something maybe. Really strange. Came around the corner and there was a woman swinging a parrot in a tree. And it was having a great time. It was screaming in happiness.
Hold on.
Oh.
He's gone for a walk. It's the first time he's been out in fresh air for ages. And all of a sudden he comes across a woman swinging a parrot that sounds like a strangled goose. Matt, really?
I was as shocked as you are, to be honest. I was like, what? And then we walked past and it said hello.
The parrot said hello.
The parrot said hello.
Wow! So it's a cat. So it's her pet then, I guess.
Yeah, I think like the wing must have been clipped or something. She had it like on a branch and was holding the end of the branch, and the parrot was a bit further up. It was just swinging it. It was having a great time. But it was a bit strange.
She was a bit. So I'm not sure that's really nice for the bird. Actually, I wonder if animal rights should be involved in this one. My goodness.
I think he's been smoking something.
Okay.
It really did. It was blue and yellow.
You never know. But interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice that you got out for a walk, Matthew, in any case.
It was. It was the most memorable part of the week, to be honest.
I'm not surprised. It sounds like the most memorable part of the last year. Woman swinging parrot. Okay. We have to ask if anybody out there has also seen this woman, or in fact, if you are the woman who has the parrot, then please do get in contact with us. We want to. Maybe it's actually all over YouTube and we don't know about it. It could actually be viral for all we know. So do get in contact if anybody knows anything about the woman swinging a parrot in the middle of was it a forest or Wood?
No, it's
City Park.
City Park.
City Park. Okay, yeah, it's. I'm still not convinced, Tracy, but
Well, stranger things have happened, so you never know.
we'll see. But anyway, yes, we've got the lovely Hugo Park coming on later. He's going to be talking about keeping fit and particularly how to stay motivated, because for many of us, of course, we start at the beginning of the year with good intentions. Let's get fitter, let's get healthier, I'm going to do more exercise, and January, well, historically, is not the best time of the year to be starting a new fitness regime, because it's gloomy outside, it's we're all over Christmas, we're over New Year, we've spent too much money, and of course in this particular year we're all just fed up anyway because of the previous year. So I can imagine that there's many people out there who are just like, oh no, I just can't, I'm reaching for the biscuits. Not that I'm thinking of anybody in particular, but yes, so we will talk to Hugo about that, and he's got a very exciting new challenge to tell us as well. So yes, we've got that to look forward to later on in the show. So I think what we should probably be doing now is having a chat with Matt about his record review.
Yes, it is the time.
Rightly, Tracy, you chose the record last week for him to review. Could you remind everybody what it was?
Yes, I did, Joe. I chose for Matthew the album Parallel Lines from Blondie.
Aha!
And I'm curious how this one went down.
Well, because this is an absolutely brilliant album, and as I was saying last year when it came out, Debbie Harry was extremely popular with a certain demographic, pretty much lots of horny young men thought she was delightful. Lots of us young ladies wanted to be her because she was just so sexy and lovely, and the album coming out of the post-punk era was a brilliant album. So Matt, I think it's brilliant. Tracy thinks it's brilliant. What do you think?
Well, I think it's brilliant too. It's very good. No, I enjoyed that album. I knew a few of the songs on it, which was nice. What's One Way or Another, that one. I knew that one. That's a good one.
Quite a famous one, yes.
And I can't remember what any of the other ones are called, but I'm terrible with the names of songs. I Googled it so I could have a look at the names of them. And I think the other one was, maybe it was Heart of Glass, maybe.
That's got some airtime on radio, I would guess. Yeah. I love Picture This. That's one of my favourites off the entire album. Yes. Yeah, but good. Oh, but good. So Matthew, nice. Then relatively successful.
Sorry, where was I doing? I was cooking.
Okay.
As usual.
Yes. That seems to be the standard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And did you have a bit of a wiggle?
Yeah, we had some wine.
Ah, good. Yes.
Actually, we had champagne. So yes, we did.
Ooh, fancy.
Jacob has finished his qualifications, so
yay!
we were celebrating that. Yeah.
Well, Tracy and I can drink to that as well.
I'm drinking with my alcohol-free wine. It's still dry January, but cheers.
Well, as long as one of us here is celebrating properly.
Don't worry, Jacob. On Monday, 1st of February, I'll have a proper big glass of something for you.
Yeah, 1st of February. We're not going to see her for about 3 days afterwards because Tracy's going to be absolutely plastered.
After a month of no booze, probably one glass and I'll not go keel over, but we'll see how it goes. But very nice, Matthew. So you were having champagne, cooking in the kitchen, listening to Blondie. Foot tapping, nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, so do you think you would listen to Blondie again?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was quite similar to the sort of music I like, so maybe.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, but it's I think think it's very much of its time, actually. It is very retro, not as retro as the album I've chosen for you this week. But before we get to that, we need to know how many Mats out of 10 you gave this one.
I think I will give it a 9.
Whoa!
Ooh, good rating.
Nice. Okay. Oh, well, congratulations to Debbie, Harry and Blondie. She'll be very pleased about that. I know she's watching. So
She's a big fan.
She's a huge fan. So yeah, nice one to Matt. And anybody out there who likes Blondie and that particular album, then do let us know. And Annie's in the house. Good evening. Nice to have you with us. And Jason, who is our lovely Jason, of course.
Hi, guys.
Over in, North Dakota. And I did actually notice on social media that they have 2 new members of the family have joined, actually.
Is it something of a furry nature?
There's 2 fluffy things that have joined the Smith household over there, yes.
It's time I did Facebook. What do they have?
They've got a little pussy and a little puppy.
Oh.
Yes. I'm sure Jason won't mind that. I'll grab the pictures and send them to you. So yes.
Please, honey. But that is the dream. You get the puppy and the kitten together. They grow up together.
And you've got little Jameson slap bang in the middle of them as well. So it's just lots of cuteness going on there. But yes, they've got a lot of training to do coming up.
Indeed, you're right, but that's the joy of it all, isn't it? Oh, so nice.
That's the joy of it all, Tracy. From what I remember when I had kittens and puppies in the house, I think at the time when they were doing what they do all over the floor, I don't think I went, oh, this is joyful.
Well, for little Tubbs, it was very joyful, but I've never had a puppy, so I have completely rose-tinted glasses on that. But I'm hopeful one day, you never know. Oh, speaking of things that are cute and fluffy, can I share something with you guys?
Oh, go on then.
I got a gift last week. Look what I got.
Oh,
Paddington Bear.
I got my own Paddington Bear. Isn't he adorable?
So what has brought this on?
I'm not quite sure. I think it was because over Christmas I watched Paddington 2. And we've already seen Paddington 1. And I've always wanted a little Paddington Bear because they're so cute to just see. And it was a little bit of a surprise gift. So I thought he could have his debut on screen.
Oh, there you go.
So
now,
he's
got any marmalade in the house, Tracy?
We do have marmalade. It's in the fridge. So over Christmas, I ordered some stuff from Kelly's expat shop in Amsterdam, and included in that was some orange marmalade. So what a coincidence there.
It's just if you knew. And have you got as much marmalade now as you have since Paddington arrived?
Actually, he's not been too greedy, so it's okay. I still have some for my toast on Saturday, so it's good.
Okay, so I better choose an album for Matt to review for next week then. So we've just had Blondie, and actually I am going for the same era. Ooh. And I seem to recall last week we were talking about maybe trying to find an album that Matt would absolutely hate.
Yes, that was the challenge.
So I've gone through my record collection, and of course it's very difficult to try and judge this because the reason they're in my record collection is usually because I like the music, of course. But yeah. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I also wanted to find something that I knew was very, very popular. And so I've come up with the soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever.
Ah.
Now, the thing is with this, I know there's a lot of people out there who love the Bee Gees, but there is also an equal amount who can't stand them. And there's also a lot who don't like the old funky disco sound as well. Included in this, you do have the Bee Gees, but alongside that, you also have a lot of instrumentals, some funky instrumentals that are going on as well. It's a real mixed bag, this one. I absolutely love it, but then I also absolutely love the film. Matt, have you seen the film Saturday Night Fever?
I don't think so.
Okay.
What's it about? Who's in it?
Do you know what? It's actually quite a hard watch in some places. It's not all light and fluffy. It's basically about young Italian American guys growing up in a neighborhood in the 70s where they're being very macho, very tough, and trying to find their way. And they've got disco is happening, and for them it's all about going out at the weekend and dancing and pulling and having fun and everything. And but yeah, there's some tragedy that gets mixed into this on the way. So it's I think it's a brilliant movie, absolutely brilliant movie, and the soundtrack for me is something I play on a regular basis. Actually, I really do. So. Yeah, I think you're either going to love it or hate it, but we shall see. We shall see.
Actually, I might take this one as well because I've never seen the movie Saturday Night Fever, and I don't know the album either. So perhaps I'll watch and listen to both as well, Matthew. We can compare notes.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Excellent stuff. Okay. So that is your album to review in the coming week. Coming up, we're going to have This Day in History. But before we get there, I think it might be nice just to briefly touch on what's been happening over the last week in the Netherlands, because of course we have seen for what has been for many of us some very surprising behaviour that's been happening across the country as a whole. And Matt, of course, you're based in Eindhoven, and you have been right in the middle of the rioting that's been going on in Eindhoven. I trust you were safe while all this was going on, and you weren't in the thick of it.
Now, when you say in the centre of it, I wasn't literally standing there. I was nowhere near them. No, I was actually. Our house is not that far from the centre. It's about a 5 minutes walk, actually. So, but no, we didn't even hear anything until we looked on the news. So I wasn't even aware. But the city was made a veiligheidsregio or something, which means that like you can be searched on site in the city and stuff. But yeah, it was a bit crazy that the station's been plundered and smashed up, and there were cars set on fire and restaurants destroyed. Yeah. But since that...
Was it unnerving for you, though, knowing that this was happening down the road and you weren't aware of it?
Not really, because I knew there was a planned protest by Pegida on the same day. And the gemeente had already sent out a message saying, stay away from the centre. So we thought something might happen, but nothing like that. Cool. So it was a bit crazy, but yeah.
Well, as the news reports have told us, it has been happening all the way across the country. There's been some very upsetting reports that have come through. We were supposed to be happening also in Maastricht at the weekend, but it seems that we didn't have it in the city centre. Now, Tracy, you live directly in the city centre. What did you see going on, if anything?
Well, where we were, it's actually quite quiet. We weren't really close to where anything was happening. A lot of the people who were out and about were sort of corralled towards the markt, where there was a police presence. The mayor of Maastricht also declared it a security risk area and gave the police more powers to stop and search, for want of a better phrase. And that's in place until the 7th of February. But what was quite documented on social media was that many of the shops were boarding up their premises. So it was almost like carnival was happening early, because they tend to do that when that's happening. And that was quite bizarre, because God knows the businesses have had it tough enough, and now they're having to board up and prevent from being, having broken windows and things stolen and stuff. But in the end, I understand that I think it was Tuesday night, and it was the hub of everything, and it was being flashed around. Oh, we're going to get together and do this, and there was a sort of almost campaign to see which city could better the other city and do more damage and things like that. But it looks like it wasn't as bad as perhaps they had predicted. Some impacts, of course, but we received a sort of advice not to put our garbage out because it was garbage night, because apparently people were taking the bins and setting them on fire, and we were advised to block off our letterbox, because apparently some people were posting things on fire through letterboxes and things. But in the end, we stayed in, so we weren't really outside. And come Wednesday morning, everything seemed normal, but I do believe that many of the premises are still boarded up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, here's hoping that we're not going to get any more of that. Personally, I think it's deplorable. If any of them think they're actually going to change the minds of the government from their behaviours, then they're very sadly mistaken. I mean, that is just not going to happen. So all that is going to happen is a lot of people are going to have a huge expense having to repair all the damage that's been done. So I think it's
not just the people those people who they find, like they took lots of pictures and videos, and they're seeking these people. And if they catch them, they'll be charged for the damages. And if they're underage, which a lot of them were underage, then their parents will also be liable for all the damage costs. And everything. I mean, if you're caught because you did that, that's a huge deal. Like, it could like ruin your family, basically. You go
yes,
back.
absolutely. But I think the people whose businesses have been trashed, okay, maybe they're going to get compensated, but at times like this, when we should all be helping each other and sticking together, to have to go through the trauma of waking up the next day, walking into a shop of yours that's been completely trashed. I mean, they're not necessarily going to recover from that, even if they're compensated. This is very, very traumatic. So yeah, I really, really hope we don't get any more of that. And Matt and Tracy, where you are, stay safe. I know you're not prepared to go outside or anything while this is all going on, but yes, we're all thinking of you when you're in these cities where this is going on. So and all our other friends out there who are in the middle of the city centres, let's stay safe and hope this doesn't continue. Okay, well, Karina's in the house. Hi, Karina. Lovely to have you with us. Good evening. Just in time, I must say, because it is time now for us to chill a little bit, relax, put our feet up. Oh dear, not again.
I am your father. May the force be with you.
This segment has turned into Star Wars. That's all I can say. So it is time for the whole of Maastricht to take a step back, put their feet up, stick the kettle on and chill, because it is time for This Is History. No.
I think we're getting better every week.
Yes.
As long as you think that, Tracy, that's important.
We should ask the viewers, what do you think?
Oh, I can imagine exactly what they think. Okay, today is Thursday, the 28th of January, and on this very day, in 1671, a British pirate by the name of Henry Morgan captures Panama City from its Spanish defenders. Now, I have to say, when I'm thinking of pirates, I don't think of a British pirate. I know there was actually historically plenty of them, but I suppose I have this romantic idea of some Latin kind of swashbuckling pirate, which is very wrong, because actually pirates are not very nice people. I don't know
Not necessarily, Joe. If you've seen The Princess Bride, there's the Dread Pirate Roberts. He's quite cool.
See?
And
this is the problem, isn't it?
Jack
This
Sparrow.
is the problem. We're getting our information from movies.
Indeed.
And if you actually read about these pirates, they were not very nice people. But anyway, the British pirate, Henry Morgan. 1813, on this very day, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice is published by Thomas Egerton in the United Kingdom. Matt, have you read Pride and Prejudice?
I have.
Oh.
Twice.
Twice? Oh, and you've gone very quiet on me all of a sudden. Tracy, I know you would have read it.
I have read it, but it is quite a long time ago, I must admit. But I do have a lovely hardback copy, actually, still. So maybe that's one for the to-be-read pile.
Yes, I think it's a great story to dive into. But of course, we don't actually have to read it because there's plenty of TV and movie versions of it. And we can get all excited over Mr. Darcy, of course, coming out in his wet shirt. Oh, Colin Firth. On this day in 1887, work begins on the Eiffel Tower in Paris. And also that very same year, in a snowstorm at Fort Kirk in Montana, the world's largest snowflakes are reported, being 38 centimetres wide and 20 centimetres thick.
Good Lord.
That's huge.
Very big snowflake, yes. Well, everything is bigger in Montana. Oh, no, that's Texas.
Oh, everything's bigger in Montana, apparently. Okay.
I think it's actually Texas. Maybe Jason can confirm. It's bigger in Texas. Never mind. Big snowflake, though. Big snowflake.
No, I think that's another T-shirt. Everything's bigger in Montana. We should definitely go with that. On this day in 1911, Frenchman Henri Rougier wins the first rally of Monte Carlo. And in 1935, on the 28th of January, Iceland becomes the first Western country to legalise abortion. In 1956, on the 28th of January, science student, later astronaut, Neil Armstrong marries fellow student Janet Elizabeth Sheeran in Wilmette, Illinois. Little did she know at the time what she was getting herself into.
Out of this world experience.
Oh, by the way, we've just had a message. Actually, everything is bigger in North Dakota.
Okay. I thought it would be.
I suppose actually we could have a T-shirt for every state in the US, couldn't we?
You know. I say we do it. The plan.
On this very day in 1958, the Lego company patents their design of Lego bricks, still compatible with bricks produced today. Now, Matt, were you a Lego kind of guy when you were a kid?
I was. I used to love Lego. I used to have these big sets of like Hogwarts Castle built out of Lego and Star Wars things. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Tracy?
I also had Lego, yes. I built houses and you could buy these little add-ons where they look like a little flower, so you could make a little house with flowers in the garden and things like that. So yes, very nice.
I don't remember having any Lego when I was a kid, but I do remember getting very excited whenever I went to a friend's who had Lego. And even now, if I see some Lego, and I can't resist. It's just one of those, let's just make something. Let's just, look at that.
Yes.
I built a spaceship.
It's very, well, there was a program on Dutch TV recently, actually, where they have these championships. So you've got teams from around the world who build stuff out of Lego. And, you know, it's got steam and moves, and this is amazing, really. So Lego has certainly advanced over the years, I think. So, but it's ever so cool.
Yeah, it is. In 1962, on this very day, Johann Relic gets stung by bees 2,443 times and survives.
Okay. He just was attacked by a hive then.
Like a balloon.
Must have been, hasn't it? Wait, I'm just going to walk into this hive here.
I'm going to have a sleep in the hive. Nice.
Goodness. That must. Now, but obviously, had he been allergic to bee stings?
I was going to say.
That would have been game over. But 2,443 times, that's a lot.
Hey.
In 1978, on this very day, musician Ted Nugent autographs a fan's arm with his knife.
Oh.
What?
Is
that allowed?
Sort of like autograph and tattoo at the same time.
Oh, that's nasty. Did he just write the word Ted?
I don't know what it was. I really don't, but it's not good. It's not good. In 2013, Iran's Pishgam rocket successfully completes a return trip of sending a monkey into space.
Oh.
Joe, did the
Yes.
monkey come back?
Yes, the monkey came back.
Yay!
It's a
Happy
return
story.
trip. It was a return trip. So it came back. I just wonder what the monkey was doing all that time. I mean, it was...
Panicking, probably.
I know, freaking out, being used.
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Poor little monkey.
Poor little monkey.
Move on, Joe.
And finally, in 2019, the US Justice Department charges Chinese firm Huawei with bank and wire fraud. I just wanted to put that in because I like saying Huawei. I've heard it pronounced so many different ways.
I was going to say. Huawei, who am I? I'm like,
Huawei. But I think it's Huawei.
Mhm.
I think it's Huawei. Huawei. Why? But anyway, yes, they did that a couple of years ago. Now, birthdays. In 1841, Henry Morton Stanley, the Welsh journalist and African explorer, was born in Denbigh, Wales. He's the one who found Livingstone.
Ah.
He's a nice guy, though.
Not?
No.
Oh, okay. Should we move on?
Ignore him. He doesn't exist.
Oh,
No.
right.
Fair enough. No, okay, I take it all back. In 1912, Jackson Pollock, the American expressionist painter, was born in Wyoming. In 1927, Ronnie Scott, the British jazz saxophonist and club owner, was born in Aldgate in East London. Nicolas Sarkozy, the former French president, was born on this very day in 1955. And finally, in 1981, Elijah Wood, the American actor, was born, the star of The Good Son and The Lord of the Rings. Happy birthday, people, and happy birthday to anybody else who is celebrating a birthday today. Hope you managed to have a fabulous one under the circumstances, and that was this day in history. Thank you very much.
Well done, dear. Ooh, that was
There you go.
dramatic pause.
Yes. So forgive me for bringing in Henry there. That's yes. We'll just sort of skate
He was
over.
a very brutal murderer. Not a nice guy.
Yes, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned him. I tell you what. Here's a question. Tell you what. Why don't you ask me a question before we get on? Before we have Tracy on even.
Oh, yeah,
Just
my
ask me a question.
Joe, what do you know this week that you didn't know last week?
Oh, well, here's the thing. Supermarket chain Lidl has a Spotify profile.
Oh.
In 2019, they released an album of ambient supermarket sounds.
OMG.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Maybe we should get you to hear that one, Matt.
Next week, Matthew.
I can still go to Lidl. That's not a problem. You need one of the ones like a playlist of things to play in a restaurant or something. You can pretend you're in a restaurant.
There you are.
Or like in a shop.
Irene's with us. She's in the house. Hello, Irene. Nice to have you with us.
Irene.
Good time now, because I think it's probably a good time to have the news, Tracy.
Indeed, we're running a bit behind. Apologies to Hugo. I'll read quickly.
Tracy Taylor with the news.
Thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's January 28th, and you're watching the Maastricht edition on Facebook Live. First, a look at your weekend weather, and the rain and wind of today will continue into Friday, but it is expected to ease off as the day goes on. On Saturday, there is a chance of snow, with temperatures only reaching 2 degrees in the day and dipping below freezing at night. Sunday should bring some sunny spells, however, with highs of 3. Moving to your news bulletin for tonight. Wednesday was the 5th night since a curfew was implemented in the Netherlands, and it seems it was relatively quiet throughout the country, even in the bigger cities where riots and looting had been taking place. The police attribute this to a large number of officers on the street and the arrests of people who called for riots on social media. From mid-February, the Netherlands will begin experimenting with various public events to see what could be managed during the pandemic. Attendees will be tested for the coronavirus before and after the events, the first of which will be a business conference in the Beatrix Theatre in Utrecht. There will also be experiments with football matches, with the first on February 20th in Nijmegen. Animal rights groups say it is a matter of principle that authorities stop using dogs and horses in situations of public unrest and protest in the Netherlands. According to an animal rights coalition of various organizations, there are too many instances of violence against service animals for this to be tolerated any longer. And the coronavirus lockdowns have left Artis Zoo in Amsterdam in such a bad financial state that it can no longer afford to keep their lions. The lions will move to a zoo in France in mid-February, where they can stay together in a bigger enclosure. In other news, British companies are increasingly looking at the Netherlands for ways to continue to serve their European customers now that the United Kingdom has left the EU. In 2019, a total of 397 international companies opened branches in the Netherlands, and last year there were already significantly more. And a vending machine, the first of its kind in the USA, is now offering COVID-19 home test kits to the public. Wellness for Humanity unveiled the vending machine at its flagship location in New York City. The vending machine is contactless, the tests are self-administered, and a cost of $119. Moving to local news, and Snow World in Landgraf has been hit hard by the COVID-19 crisis. Due to lockdown measures, the indoor ski halls have been closed for weeks, and all during the important winter sports season. The company is now in talks with banks. And Carnival would normally be due to start on February 14th, but it is not yet clear whether the lockdown, foreseen until February 9th, will be extended. Nevertheless, rules have already been drawn up to discourage Carnival in the streets, including no alcohol in public spaces, no Carnival carts, and a proposal to ban all sound installations in catering establishments. The European Fine Art Fair, or TEFAF, is now set to take place at the MEC in Maastricht from 11th to 19th September, if circumstances then allow. In addition to the physical fair, TEFAF Online will also be launched again. And the first residents can now move into the new building on the Groene Loper. Keys were handed out for 1,175 homes, and in addition, homeowners also received a window feeder, food, and information about how they can make their balcony attractive to birds. And finally tonight, dogs were first accredited with being able to smell cancer back in 1989. More recently, a Spanish engineer, Judith Giro-Benet, has now invented a pain-free breast cancer home testing kit inspired by the nose of man's best friend. The device, called the Blue Box, uses artificial intelligence to mimic a dog's nose to analyze urine samples and identify cancer biomarkers. Early trials indicate that the Blue Box gave an accurate reading more than 95% of the time. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you are a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limburg Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht Edition. And if you want to discover events, concerts, and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding areas, head on over to the website of our partner, maastrichter.com, to check out their awesome calendar of events. And don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on Redbubble, and on Instagram. For all the details, check out the maastrichtedition.nl.
Lovely stuff. Well done, our Tracy.
Thank you, darling.
Nicely done. I think this idea about decorating your balconies on the in the new apartments is a lovely idea. Really lovely.
Lovely.
But here's somebody in the house.
Hello.
Who has probably seen some of these apartments as he's been jogging around Maastricht. Good evening, Hugo Park.
Good evening. Oh, it's nice to see some people.
Well, we are kind of actually very close to each other, even though we're not really close to each other. So, yes, we can snuggle up a little bit. How are you, Hugo? Nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. A little bit sleepy these days, but
well, yeah, something we need to talk about before we get stuck into any fitness talks is you are a new father. Congratulations, Hugo. A bouncing baby girl. When did she come along?
That was on Thursday. Yeah. So
Oh,
thank you
wow.
very much. Yeah.
She's very new. And,
Very
and
new.
her name?
Her name's Ember. Yeah.
Ember. Oh, that's lovely.
Oh,
Well, hello, Ember, from all of us here at the Maastricht edition. Well, welcome to the world. So, yes, so you're not sleeping at all at the moment.
Very, very little. I've got to say, more than my other half, because she obviously has to feed her, which my capacity for doing that is slightly limited.
Yes.
So yeah, I really shouldn't complain, and of course it's part of the deal, isn't it? But yeah, a little bit dozy, but managing fine. All worth it, of course.
Oh, it's a lovely way to start the year for sure. So it's nice to have some good news. Some good news. But of course, we invited you on today because you are a personal fitness trainer, expert, marathon runner, jogger, the whole thing. I think when we first met you, you were running around Maastricht on a daily basis for hours and hours on end, which we thought was completely crazy. You've got another challenge coming up soon, which we're going to talk about later. But we did want to have a chat with you because, of course, many people at the beginning of the year, they start these new fitness regimes. They all have these good intentions of, right, new year, new me. I'm going to start jogging more. I'm going to start Zumbering more. I'm going to start weightlifting more. And then as the end of January comes into view, we're kind of losing our energy a little bit. It's dark outside. The January blues, I suppose you might call it. How do you keep going?
Well, I think probably so. There's a number of sort of pitfalls that most people fall into, and I think they tend to be biting off more than you can chew, perhaps. So trying to take on a complete lifestyle change, just because it's a new number on the calendar. And people often maybe choose something that maybe actually deep down they don't really care about that much. Maybe it doesn't really matter. Maybe it's just something that they think they should do, and that kind of thing. So I think the key is often in good planning and having a good think about what it is you want to achieve and how you're going to make sure that you do that before you even start. So we've probably all heard of SMART goals. So that's a handy acronym. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. So instead of just saying generally, maybe I want to get in shape, let's come up with some SMART goals and break it down like that. And you can choose, you can do many in a year, right? But just make sure that you're not completely sort of flooding yourself with too many things to change at once at the most depressing and difficult time of the year anyway. And I think particularly important is the R, the relevant. So take a step back, take 10 minutes and think about what is it to you that really matters. What is it? Maybe learning a new instrument isn't. Maybe you haven't done it because you don't really care that much about learning a new instrument or something like that. So yeah, that would be a good starting point. And then, just to plan to win. That's another good one. So what I mean by that is imagine the road ahead, imagine the race, the metaphorical race you've got to run, and the sort of pitfalls, the potholes that might cause you to trip up. And you know yourself better than anyone, so you can think, well, last time it was whatever it was going to that dinner with those people that made me start drinking again or something like that.
Mentioning no names.
And so think about that. Think about where it is you might trip up, and plan to have a strategy, to have a seatbelt for that situation. And that's again, think about, already have it in your mind, your why, like your relevance factor. Oh, okay, I want to stop now, but actually no, I mustn't because of this little thing. And a really, really helpful thing as well, which kind of puts together a number of these elements, is to pick a challenge. I'm all about challenges, and so maybe it would be completing a marathon or a half marathon, or maybe even just a 5K within the year or within, the first few months or whatever it is. But find one that scares you a little bit, book it, pay for entry, tell other people that you're going to do it, put it on social media, and then you should get butterflies. You should the next day kind of go have a few moments of dread, and that means that you've done the right thing, because you'll do it. All right, you can do it.
A few moments of dread.
Just a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
A little bit of dread is good for you.
Well, it's something you're probably going to be feeling at the moment, which I know a lot of people will suffer with, is sleep deprivation. Now, how do you find that motivation, or even just dig deep to find that energy to go for a run, or to throw some weights around, or even just jump up and down a bit in your lounge at the moment when you are so tired?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And actually, I had this very moment yesterday, because our daughter turned 1 week old today. So yesterday I had gone nearly a full week without doing anything, and I was kind of like, it's really easy to then just sort of get locked into the couch. And obviously, being very tired makes it that much easier to not do it. So I made myself go for a run, do a bit of exercise. I did it really, really slowly. I didn't do very much, but it's just doing it. And afterwards, as I expected would happen, I felt almost not tired.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I'm not going to say I felt fine, but I felt a lot better than before. And once you do that a few times, it's, once you work that muscle a few times, just getting out of the door, you realize that actually most of the time you feel better and not worse. And most of the time, blowing out the cobwebs and getting the blood pumping really does something for you. So yeah, that would be my tip. It usually boils down to just do it, I'm afraid. But if you're tired, that's not the time to start trying to perform at your best or really, really push yourself. Just try and do something, even if it's just some stretching.
Now, Tracy, you like to go for a run. Have you been finding it difficult in January?
Well, actually, I haven't been running recently because I have a small foot injury that I'm currently busy with. So I'm forbidden from running because traditionally the impact of the foot on the ground. But what I did was instead, just before the new year, I purchased a cross trainer. Which is one of those things you walk on and move. Yes. And this was lower impact. And so I'm using that to replace my jogging, if that makes any sense. So my foot's still okay, and I'm still getting a half an hour on, and I pat myself on the back. I have used the cross trainer every day since I've had it in the house. 28th of December, half an hour. Level 4, sometimes level 5 for 2 minutes because it's very tough, and then back to 4. But I find, like Hugo was saying, it's habit. It's just like anything. Yeah. You've got to work it into your day and think, oh, I'm going to do it now or get it out of the way now. But it's all about making the habit, and you always feel so much better afterwards. You might be a bit, oh God, I overdid it, but you still feel better for having done that. So yes, so I haven't been jogging, but also the last time I did go jogging was just before Christmas, and it had been very icy the night before. And I remember jogging in the park, and I fell over. Oh, no. I had I landed on both elbows. How that happened, I don't know. So I thought, okay, maybe best just stay indoors where it's safe at the moment. But there is, I guess, Hugo, as well, there are probably exercises and things that you can do inside as well without having to run in the park, especially during the cold, snowy weather we've had of late.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's that's one of the things I've been trying to share a little bit more on social media. Although I had a little sort of let's do something every day for 2 weeks challenge, which was immediately derailed by
a baby.
By the baby, by labour. Yeah, which slightly.
How selfish.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, but. And the sorts of things you can do, I mean, are almost endless, really. Like things like squat jumps, or I like doing things like frog jumps, just really sort of full body weight movements. And Yeah, a lot of the time, just starting with something. Don't necessarily go onto an Instagram feed where someone's doing push-ups with their feet in the air and clapping in between them or something like that, and try and do that. Just start really, really basic and really, really simple, and just build up
I
gradually.
must say, anything that's going to motivate me is probably going to be something where I have to get dressed up as a frog. That sounds very tempting. So yeah, I'm all over that.
Well, that's very much allowed, and if you do that, please do share.
That's fun for your story post, Joe.
Yeah.
So you did mention about the challenges earlier. We know you have a new super duper challenge coming up, Hugo. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is it's called the 4x4 by 48, which was running for the second year now, and it's started by a guy called David Goggins, who I thoroughly suggest you check out, because he's kind of the master of everything that we've just been talking about, of motivating yourself and sticking with things and pushing yourself and all that kind of thing. But essentially, it's 4 miles, so just under 6.5 kilometers, every 4 hours for 48 hours running.
Wow.
So yeah, it's 4 miles isn't
sleep,
very long.
or is it through the night? Well,
yeah. So through the night, indeed. So you sleep in between, and the challenge is, it absolutely sucks to do it. And it's not. It's the longest distance to go, and it's not the intensity, but it's getting up through the night for 2 days and sticking it out. And so there's a lot of people do this and follow along online.
Nice.
So I decided to join in because I need something on the map, and I need to make myself accountable. And today I had that slight moment of dread. So
Well, you're not sleeping anyway, so you'll be fine.
Exactly.
And,
training.
And I believe there's this particular charity that you're raising money for.
Yeah, that's right. It's for the Stille Armen. Apologies to any Dutch listeners for the pronunciation, but it's a charity. Yeah, Stille Armen Maastricht. So that's for the sort of unrecognized, the invisible poor of our society, community, who don't necessarily qualify, or they're not necessarily recognized by the state as being in poverty, but they, like a very, very quickly growing number of people, have maybe no savings and you name it, difficult situations, and they help these people out. And yeah, it's local. I think it's at this time, like you said, Joe, with regard to the riots, this is a time where we should all be sort of banding together and helping each other rather than vandalizing each other's property. So this is the little bit that I can do, I think, to do that. So yeah, that's about it.
So if people want to support you, what should they do?
They should go to my Facebook page, where they can see the link to the GoFundMe page.
Right.
The GoFundMe URL's a bit too long to say here, but yeah, if you go to my Facebook page, that's just Bridge Personal Fitness. And you'll see it's the top post, and you can just click on that, and then you can donate. It's a last time I didn't use a Dutch platform, so this time it's all good. You can use Ideal and PayPal, all the handy payment methods. So yeah.
Excellent. And are we encouraging people to come and join you?
Not well, socially distanced, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, so what I really encourage people to do is take part themselves. Do their own, whether it's doing the 4x4 by 48 or doing anything else. That's a lot to do, I understand. It's probably going to be too much for me, really, but you can do anything that's going to take you about 45 to 60 minutes to do, and just follow the same schedule. That's going to be challenging, obviously. And yeah, just do that, keep telling people, choose your own charities, and hopefully we can get like a snowball effect going on. I think that's the best way.
Stuff. Well, we'll shove all of that on our social media, and we'll try and rally the troops for you and get that money in. It's been lovely to see you, Hugo. I think you look fine after a week of non-sleeping, to be honest with you, but maybe we should have another look at you in 6 months' time and see how you're doing.
Yeah.
I really hope the baby doesn't break you, and in 6 months you're going, I'm not doing any more fitness because I'm done. But I'm sure you will get through it like every other new parent. And many congratulations to you both. It's wonderful news, and we look forward to seeing the pictures. Good luck with the challenge, and do come back and see us again soon. Oh,
he's gone.
He's frozen.
Oh no!
He's frozen. Oh my goodness! Right at the very end, he's frozen. Well,
he's fallen asleep.
Yes, he's already taking a nap. There you go. Well, we'll have to assume that he's saying thank you for having me, and we'll see you. We'll see you after the challenge. Oh, I'm glad that happened at the end of the interview and not in the middle. But
good timing.
But that's a hell of a challenge he's got going on there.
I know, but I mean, he did so well the last time. He was raising money for the ocean cleanup, if I recall,
yes.
and I think he raised more than you have to kind of set what your aim is, and I think he smashed that out the water. Excuse the pun. Yeah. So, but yeah, I have very high hopes that he'll get this one done as well. So very cool.
Yes, marvelous.
I can do it with the
Hello, Kevin. Nice to have you with us this evening. Hope you are well. He's in sunny Portugal.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes.
Very nice.
We do have quite an international crowd, don't we, that join us here on the Mass Tradition. Oh, sorry, Tracy, go on.
I asked if he could send us some sun.
Oh, that would be nice.
Please.
Put it in an envelope. Send it, please.
My good. Well, do you know, actually, I need a boat. When I look at the back garden at the moment, I couldn't believe actually how flooded it was this evening when I went out there. That was a lot of water. A lot of water. Right, Matt. I think it's time for you to go Dutch on us.
Yes.
Is it the quiz again, Matt?
This week?
No, this week I went back to a more traditional Matt Goes Dutch. Mixed up a bit.
Of course.
So yesterday was Holocaust Memorial Day. So that's the day that commemorates all those who died during the Holocaust in the Second World War. And being British, I don't know that much about what happened here in the Netherlands. And I've told you before, in my neighbourhood, there's lots of struikelsteen in the pavement, so the stones that commemorate those who died. So I thought I'd look into it a bit and find out what happened here, and I tell you what I found out. So the Netherlands actually had one of the highest death rates of the Jewish population in Western Europe.
Oh, really?
So during the Nazi invasion in 1941, there were 140,000 Jews registered because the Nazis forced the Jews to register with the government, and there were 140,000 of them. Of those 140,000, 107,000 were deported, and of those 107,000, only 5,200 survived. So the rest were sent to camps and died. And 24,000 Jews went into hiding, with 8,000 either caught or betrayed. So of course that includes the world famous Anne Frank, whose diaries lots of us are very familiar with, whose house you can still go visit in Amsterdam, and you can when this is all over.
Yes.
And you can see where she was hidden behind a cupboard in the attic. So yeah, it's not a great story in terms of the Netherlands. It was a very hard hit country during the Second World War. And after the war, all these records of 140,000, there's over 160,000 records, because it wasn't just Jews, it was also other minority populations, like Gypsies and Jehovah's Witnesses and other groups. So all these records were given to the Red Cross after the war, and they were used to track down these people and to see what had happened to them. And I think it was yesterday they were handed over to the Dutch government, to the National Holocaust Museum in Amsterdam. These documents were handed over, and they're all being digitized, so you can see them online and you can see information about these people and what happened to them. So these records contain the names, addresses, date of birth, profession, marital status, family composition, and in 3 out of 4 cases, the date of transport to a concentration camp is written in pencil, so you can see exactly what happened to them on these records. So if you are interested, you can look it up online. And also, during this lockdown period, we can all have a chance to still wander around the city, of course. So make sure you keep an eye out for these Strauchelstein. I can't say this word. Strauchelstein. There you go. That's the German Strauchelstein. They're little brass squares which you'll find in the pavement. And there's quite a few in Maastricht city centre.
There is.
And some of the 30s neighbourhoods behind the station, you'll also find them. So just have a wander around, and when you see these stones, you'll see on them the name of the person, and their date of birth and the date of death and where they died. And often you'll see like several of these together because they're placed outside the houses where the last place the Jewish person was registered before they were taken away to a concentration camp. So sometimes you'll find, I don't know, 4 to 6 blocks, which was a whole family in that one house who were taken away. So that's a bit of a sad story. But I think it's something you should definitely remember and sort of think about.
And of course, we did have that young man on 2 or 3 years ago now to talk about the stones. And up until that moment, I didn't really know anything about it. But ever since we had him on as a guest, any time I see any of those stones now, I stop and I look and I pause. I found it quite a revelation when we had. I do apologise. I've forgotten the name of the young man we had.
Jaap Jansen, I think.
There you go. Yeah, and he came on and told us all about it. But may I be so bold to say that those writers out there, if they want to get a bit of perspective, why don't you read Anne Frank's diary, and then you'll know about living in a small confined space for a long time. Thank you, Matt. Interesting as always. Great stuff. We're coming towards the end of the show. Tracy, do you have any little titty bitties for us this week?
Yes, just the one actually, and it's sort of keeping in theme with the sports chat we had with the lovely Hugo earlier on. Of course, lots of places are closed, so you can't, go to your classes or whatever at the moment. But I did want to highlight a yoga class here in Maastricht, and it's called Aruna Yoga, and Aruna is Sanskrit for a kind of rising sun or dawn light, so it's very nice. And it's actually located on the Frankenstraat, which is on the same street where our lovely guest from last week has their bookstore, so it's all happening on that side of the city. But in any case, the Aruna Yoga Maastricht, it's run by the lovely Tanya. Now, they are closed until the 9th of February, but just in case you were looking to try to do some yoga at home, they're offering online classes. They're every day, including Sundays, and many of the classes, I think nearly half, are actually conducted in English. So if you're not quite up to speed on Dutch yet, then you can easily do an English session at home, whatever time sort of suits you. You just have to sort of register and log in, and you get a Zoom link and all this kind of stuff. And next to that, Tanya also has some free YouTube videos that you can just watch at any old time at all. And you just kind of click on one that's maybe for the neck and the shoulders, or one that's for the morning, or one that's specifically for the back, or one that's 10 minutes, or one that's 20 minutes, or whatever. And she covers Hatha Yoga, Yin Yoga, and Yin-Yasa Yoga. So these are three options that you could consider. Hatha is my personal favorite, but...
I didn't know there were so many yogas to choose from.
That's only 3. There's even more. But yeah, I'll share the details online later, but it's definitely an option if you feel you're missing out on just having that class atmosphere and being guided through a yoga session. So this is one you could consider, Aruna Maastricht.
Excellent stuff. And may I steer people towards the Facebook page for the group of Support Your Local Business. I did notice this week there were a couple of posts. I didn't look at them in detail, but there was a couple of posts on there for some online art classes. So delve in, have a look. There is plenty going on around the city online, so it's worth having a look. And of course, as the name says, you're supporting a local business, which is all very good. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of the show. I have to say, we've just had a message from Hugo. Not sure what happened at the end, but thanks for having me on. A pleasure as always.
Bless.
So
thank you, Hugo.
Bless him. So yes, it's always fun to have you on, Hugo. So a big thank you to him, and a big thank you to everybody who joined us this evening. As always, lovely to have you from all around the world, wherever it is that you're located. It's always nice to have you here. And Kevin says he's going to send us some sun in the post.
Thank you,
and,
Kevin.
and something about yogurt. So
Ooh.
the mind boggles. We look forward to the yogurt. Thanks ever so much to everybody. We shall see you again next week. I cannot remember for the life of me who the guest is next week. Matt? No,
We have
that's
Marietta,
brilliant. So-
Marietta from the Maastricht University will be talking to us about sex psychology.
Okay.
Excellent. Oh, well, if ever there was a program to come and tune in for, it's next week, because we're going to be talking about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about sex.
We're going to be talking about sex.
We'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. Take care. Bye.
Take
for now.
care.
Bye.
Bye. Feed the birds. I do hope